welcome back to my craft room. My name is Whitney Lucas with Crafty Thoughts Whatnots, and today I'm going to show you guys a cute little grapevine wreath with a little bit of everything. We're going to have flowers, we're going to have mesh, ribbon, and then this cute little sign I got here from JoAnns just a little bit ago. It's a cute little summery cactusy guy. We're going to put all these things together and we're going to make a really cute wreath. So let's get down to the craft table and I'll show you all of our supplies. Alrighty, so here we have all of our supplies we're going to use today. I have a white grapevine wreath. Now I purchased this on a severe clearance at Michael's after Christmas. They had a lot of these that were already pre-colored. They had gold and red and green and white ones, and these were all like severely clearanced because let me tell you, when I bought it full price, they wanted $19.99 for this thing, regular price. I got it for I think $80 or $90. I got it for $3.99. So that's even cheaper than a regular plain grapevine wreath, which would be like $4.99. So you can actually achieve this same exact process whether you buy a grapevine wreath and just spray paint it. It's going to be a little bit cumbersome. I have spray painted wreaths before and it kind of takes a lot of time and a lot of cans of spray paint to get this kind of coverage, but I chose white because I wanted to stick with pink and white. So that's where I got this particular wreath from. I'm not sure if you can buy them anymore. I mean, I'm pretty sure there might be somewhere you can find colored wreaths, but it might actually be more cost effective if you already have these than to probably spray paint one yourself. So then next what I was going to do is I'm going to incorporate an embroidery hoop. Now this is a wooden embroidery hoop and I have painted it this lime green color. I used this apple barrel paint. It's just, you know, pretty much every day. This is a really old one. That's that old label. This one is apple green or green apple. What is it? Apple barrel colors paint. You know, these acrylic paints have been around forever. So I painted this particular embroidery hoop. I'm using the portion of the hoop with the metal piece on it because the inside piece of this I plan on using for a macrame project at another time. So I've already painted this with acrylic paint for the color scheme I'm going for. So we're actually going to attach this on the inside of our wreath. This is the mesh that I plan on incorporating. Now I'm not going to need the whole roll. I'm only going to put a couple ruffles in this, but I want to intersperse them within the florals. So this is an idea. We'll see if this works out, guys. If it doesn't, then you'll see halfway through the video I decided not to do it. But basically I want to try to place some of this in with the florals. And this was purchased at JoAnns around the same time I got this cute little sign here. This cute little sign says love lives, no, not loves, grows. Love grows here, and I love the little cactus and the little succulents around there. It was super summertime. These are becoming very popular recently with all the cactus and succulent gardens and things. So this guy was also at JoAnns, and my patrons were able to see the day I bought it. If you want to sign up for Patreon, you'll get my posts. You'll see some of my supply orders. At different levels get different rewards. So my patrons were able to see when I purchased this. So this was also at JoAnns at the same time I got the mesh and I had an idea. Okay, and then the ribbons I plan on putting along with the mesh are just a sheer white polka dot. And then I've used this on a previous strawberry wreath. You guys have seen that one. This is a, these are both craftoutlet.com purchases. Really good ribbon, really cute. And let's see, oh, I'm sorry, no, this is Paper Mart. This is an old Paper Mart purchase. I've had this polka dot ribbon for a few years. This is it's a 2-inch wide by 50-yard roll of white sheer white polka dot wired ribbon. So you got this at Paper Mart, and this is a craft outlet. This was a very recent purchase. This one I don't know if Paper Mart even has anymore. So it's just pick a color combo that works for you. And then because of the sign, I couldn't find any pinks that I really liked, but I knew that I had some hydrangea here at home. Now these hydrangea are from Michael's. You can get them pretty much all year long. These are more like a fuchsia color hydrangea. And I have quite a bundle here, you can see. These were purchased for another project, but that doesn't mean that we can't always repurpose our goodies, you guys. So I have a fuchsia hydrangea, and obviously I'm not going to use this many, but I just brought them all in for the party. And then everything else here is basically, again, clearing out my stash because I had the colors I knew I already had at home when I saw this cute sign. This is a greenery bush, also purchased at Michael's. Now, the Michael's greenery is not very affordable, but this was purchased on a week where I had a crazy good sale, and then on top of that I had another 20 or 30% off. If not, sometimes, you know, Michael's, like Hobby Lobby, has a 40% off on one item. Go in there and grab a greenery bush. Otherwise, I would stick to Hobby Lobby. But this particular guy was purchased at Michael's. And then all of these leftovers here I'm saying these are leftovers from Michael's. This was Michael's spring bushes. It says flower market, so it might even be before spring. Just 2 kinds of greens because I'm really going to mix up the green in here. And then this was a JoAnns purchase. Looks like that's a JoAnns. This is, you guys, I know by my tags. This is a JoAnns tag. So these guys are JoAnns, and this is a Michael's. So this is just a leftover bush that I never, I mean, it's a full bush, but I never used it for my project. So I have a light green, that's Michael's. And then these little guys that are leftovers, these are JoAnns. So this one I pulled out of a project because it wasn't too successful, but here's what the bush looks like when I purchased it at JoAnns. And then this is also a leftover from a project, and then another one that I didn't use because I purchased a little bit too much. I might be guilty of doing that quite often, you guys. And then same with this. This had 3 pieces on it. There's 2 left, and I am definitely going to find a way to put this bright pink, cute little springy bush in there. This was also purchased at JoAnns for a previous project. So this, most of my florals, again, are stash busters. But if you know you have supplies in your room, or in your, in your stash, or however, however you go about it, just go out, and when you find something, like when I ran across this cute little sign, I just knew that I would have the stuff at home because I already knew some of what I already had. Now, I can't keep track of my flowers at all times, but I knew that I had definitely enough pink and greens to get this thing done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear off the craft table, and when we get right back down, I'll have everything spread out, and we'll start making our cute little wreath. Okay guys, so to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to place our pipe cleaners on the back of our sign to attach to the wreath. We're not going to do that yet, but we do need to put them on now so that we don't have to wait for the glue to set when we're actually ready to put the sign on the wreath. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 2 pipe cleaners on the back of this sign with a staple gun. Pick any kind of staple gun you have, doesn't really matter, just any staple gun will do. And see, this one right here didn't go in so well. So what I have is, got a handy little hammer. Take your hammer and basically push that down into the wood itself. So I'm going to do that over here on the more solid part so I don't shake my camera. One sec, guys. There we go. And then second one just down a little bit further. Now you can set this up on your actual wreath itself and measure if you need to. Once you have those 2 stapled on, I just like to cover my staples with glue across the pipe cleaners. Gives a little bit more security, make sure nothing's going to come off. And that's basically what you're looking at. So what I'm going to do is set this off to the side while we work on the rest of the project, and we'll place that on once we're ready. So our next little step is I'm going to put the embroidery hoop on the actual wreath. So I want this embroidery hoop to be sort of off to the left, and we're going to be placing our sign over here on the right, sort of at a diagonal. So what I'm going to do is, that's the idea. I'm not sure if you can see it very well even on here on the table, but this bright lime green is going to really pop against the pink flowers, and you're not meant to see the whole thing. And I forgot to tell you what size this was. This is a 10-inch embroidery hoop, and I believe this is an 18-inch wreath. Again, you guys, I'm sorry I didn't even tell you what size these things were. You know what, it doesn't say. They never say on the tags what size they are. I don't usually buy anything larger than an 18-inch wreath, and I can pretty much tell you this is more than likely an 18-inch. Yeah, this is an 18-inch grapevine wreath, and this is a 10-inch embroidery hoop. So what I'm going to do here is, again, 2 pipe cleaners. And I'm using white, obviously, so that it kind of doesn't show through too much. If it does for any odd reason, we'll cover it with leaves on the back. So I'm going to take my pipe cleaners and just twist them around the embroidery hoop. I'm going to use 2 of them, moderately spaced out, and twist them around, and then twist them around themselves twice. So then that's how we're going to attach this guy here into our wreath. And what I need to do is get my proper placement. I'm going to look for somewhere to hide this little metal piece in the actual grapevine itself. None of this is going to show because the flowers and the mesh and everything are going to kind of just be going all around it. But I kind of want to get it nestled just enough inside there that it won't really cause an issue. And I think I found it right like that. So once I hold it in there, I'm going to just take my pipe cleaners and feed them through the grapevine. I'm going to do this towards the back. So I'm going to take the ones up front, push it through the grapevine. And then, of course, you know, this stuff gets a little squirrely, so grab your pliers or whatever tools you have, and basically that's how you're going to pull the rest of the pipe cleaner through. And I'm still holding it here. I'm just going to give this a quick little twist just to hold it in place while I do this second one right here. I'm just going to feed that through the top all the way to the back. I'm using white pipe cleaner, so you're probably not going to be able to see it too well on camera, but you get the idea, guys. You get the idea. So there are our piece is attached, and my concern is basically keeping it kind of straight. It's a grapevine wreath. It's not necessarily going to remain straight, but straight enough is basically how you have to put it. I need it to be straight enough, and then just twist it around itself a few times. All these little pieces are going to fall off all over the place. That's kind of a normal thing. And if they're just crazy in the way, go ahead and clip them off. This one seems to be a little bit more troublesome, and I think it's because of the paint that they put on it. The paint's really like making it a little bit tougher to cut than normal. I'm going to cut the excess off on these guys here. And let's see, was I untwisting that one? There we go. And then after I do that, I turn the pieces down that we've already twisted, and I twist them inside of themselves, sort of around their own pieces. Just as a precaution, give it a little bit more of a secure hold. It's all twisted together, and it's all metal. I mean, it's all wired in. It just helps out a little bit. At least in my mind it does, right? Whatever helps you sleep at night, right? Whatever makes you happy. And then if you need to, you can place some glue on that too. I'm absolutely okay with it. I might actually glue a little bit here on the metal piece and the wreath itself. I got some contact there. So I'm going to let that sit for a sec. And then we're going to need these to put we're going to need the other, we're going to need more pipe cleaners probably. More than that at least, to put the mesh on. So next, I'm going to place my larger hydrangea on first, and then we're going to put greenery around it. I'm going to put the bigger flowers in first. I know you guys, you're normally used to seeing me put greenery in first, but for this one, I'm doing something a little bit different, so I want to make sure I get proper placement here so that I can nestle those little mesh ruffles I want to put in the right spots. I'm essentially going to sort of try to incorporate the same techniques as a mesh wreath, but just on a grapevine wreath. So wherever I put the mesh ruffles is also where I'm going to put our ribbon streamers. So it's going to be a little bit of everything. You're going to have a mesh hoop, you're going to have an embroidery hoop, you're going to have a grapevine wreath, you're going to have flowers, you're going to have the best of all of it. So I said, let me just incorporate everything into one wreath and let's see how it turns out, right? Can't be too bad, I hope, she said. So I'm cutting these guys off pretty short. And remember, save your leaves and stems. I can tell you right now, these leaves on these hydrangea are definitely going to be used already. At least a few of them on the back of this project, since I have to cover the pipe cleaners and the back of that embroidery hoop. So after I cut them off pretty short, I'm going to just kind of bend them a little bit because we're needing to place them in the grapevine at this angle. So I'm bending them. Remember, we're putting our sign kind of here diagonally. So, diagonal sign. Let's take a look. I think the glue is probably already dried. Let's just take a look here. Yeah, our glue is good. So let's see how we're going to put this on here. So I want the flowers here. Okay. Again, I'm going to put this on last. So that's helping me realize I need to at least place this the hydrangea here into the wreath at sort of even spots, because the rest of this is all going to be mixed in with florals and mesh and ribbon. So that's sort of not that too even. I need a bigger space between this one and that one. So let's put this one a little bit further down here. And then bend the hydrangea. Don't be afraid to bend these. These are really big, fluffy hydrangea. I mean, look at this already. It's so cute, you guys. You can't see this green showing up too well on the camera, as you can see here. This extra loop, I mean, this would be cute by itself. Just do florals with an extra embroidery hoop inside your wreaths, and that alone is already going to be a crowd pleaser. Which I probably have plans to make a few like this, especially at Christmas time. Could you guys imagine at Christmas, like a bright red, or even just the natural color that the embroidery hoops come in, the wooden ones? Super cute, super cute. So, I'm going to go ahead and glue my hydrangea in. I like where they're at. Just trying to keep track of where I have them. So, again, I'm going to glue up the end of that stem in my glue skillet over here and place it right back in where I had it. Try to keep my finger, and I just, of course, let that one go. But I know it's right here on this spot right here. And let's hold back the petals as much as possible. I mean, glue is going to get everywhere. You can't really help it sometimes. And start gluing these goodies in. Okay, that one's right there. Trying to just keep the strings down. There we go. And don't worry if anything sticks out on the back. If you got too many stems sticking out on the back, once you're done, you can cut them all off. And then that's, again, what I said that before. We're going to use the leaves to cover up some of the mess on the back, but we don't have to worry about it too much. So I'm going to place my greenery in. Placing the mesh in after this particular greenery and before we do these flowers, just because I'm not sure how the mesh is going to go mixing it in. I have to feed we're going to have to feed the pipe cleaners through the grapevine, and then we'll have to also, on the flip side, feed the flowers past the mesh into the grapevine. And I don't know how it's going to work out as far as getting glue all over the mesh is concerned, but I'm definitely still not doing the ribbon until the end. We'll see, you know, we'll go through this together. If the process ends up being a little bit weird, we can always decide together to change it up. And that's what you guys are here for with me. So again, comments, tips, tricks, leave them in the video, and we'll go at it together and we'll figure out the best way. Because a lot of times, you guys, I'm in the same boat with everybody else. This is just me showing everybody what I think I would do, and then we'll figure it out together, right? So let me see how I'm going to just, if I need to cut some of these. I really like the length on them, and then what I'm going to do is bend them and get them all kinds of cute and crazy. So this particular design is not going any which way. Now normally if you're going to fill up the entire wreath, I would tell you to go pick a direction and go within that one direction. So if it's one wreath, pick clockwise or counterclockwise and stick with it. Don't change it up. And then that really helps your wreath, you know, it finishes it off. It really helps your wreath have a more professional look. So just don't kind of mess with too much different directions. But in this instance, since we're only doing a part of the wreath, I'm going to have the entire arrangement kind of curl around this way. Then I'm going to put things in every which direction just to kind of go left this way and then right this way, It's just the way I'm working on this particular one. It'll work out. So all I did was clip 4 of those off, and I placed them in, and the 4 together are complementing all of this cute greenery. So again, I like where I have them. I'm going to glue these guys in, and we'll go on to the next step, which we'll see what that next step is together, guys, because I'm thinking I'm going to do the mesh. So I just got to cut a few pieces of mesh. Let's first get these guys glued in, and then on to the next one. Also, has anybody done one of these before? If you guys have done one before, let me know in the comments. And then, of course, if you can, send me a picture, because these, I mean, this is going to be gorgeous. I've got mesh, I got grapevine, I've got an extra embroidery hoop, flowers, ribbon, and a beautiful sign. Some might say that could be a little bit too much, but I really honestly don't understand that, because there's just so much pretty stuff. I don't. Sometimes, I mean, I guess you can say there is too much of a good thing. Can be. Nah. I'm still on the side of flowers and ribbons and bows. Oh my, you know, whatever. I like it all. So glued all my greenery guys back in. Now, of course, because we left these long, we can bend them and move them around as we make our arrangement. So we're not going to be forced to stick in any one direction. Okay guys, I'm going to cut some mesh, and then when we get back, I'll show you how we're going to incorporate that into the wreath. Okay guys, so I got my mesh cut, and I put in 2 of the pipe cleaners, and I'm going to show you how we did that with this last one here. So basically, I'm only going to go with sets of 3s. I have 3 large hydrangea. I'm going to go with 3 bundles of ribbons and mesh, and we'll see how that works out. So what I did was I unrolled my mesh, and on the cutting mat I cut it 30 inches long. This is a 10-inch wide mesh, okay? So roll it out, cut it 30 inches long. I like to use a rotary cutter. I got this at JoAnns, but you can find these anywhere. Rotary cutter is really nice and simple for mesh. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a ruffle in each one of these. It's very similar to what we do if we're making a ruffle wreath, a ruffle mesh wreath. So I have my pipe cleaner, and I'm going to situate this one right here up top on the other 2. If you can see, I have a white pipe cleaner sticking out here, and I have another pipe cleaner sticking out here. That's where I'm separating the bundles pretty evenly across. And so I like to take my pipe cleaner, and I like to put a curl in the end of it. So I kind of just take it and, you know, do as U-shaped as possible to get a good little hook in it. And then that's where you can feed it down in to the grapevine. And again, this is just hit and miss, because obviously we all know grapevine is not exactly the most, you know, agreeable product. It doesn't exactly always have the perfect openings or anything, and sometimes the pipe cleaners need help. So I'm going to put my pliers down in here, and I'm going to squeeze the grapevine open and grab grab the other end of the pipe cleaner I have down there. So once I pull it through, I get it about halfway up. And I put the twist where I want my bundle to be. So if I twist it this way, my bundle's going to be closer to the inside. If I twist it together up higher, my bundle of ribbons will be closer to the top. So what I want is I want my bundle to be a little bit closer to basically almost middle top. I don't want it to be in here on this side and come out this way. I want it to kind of come up this way. So I'm hoping what we'll do is we'll take it, and I'm only going to make sure I have a nice tight twist, and I'm going to do 2 twists on each one. And then push those back up. So I have 2 twists on each one of these pipe cleaners here. And now we'll add our mesh. Very similar. Actually, it's not very similar. It's exactly similar to the way that we do a ruffle wreath. So take your mesh and place it flat in front of you. And I mean, everybody's seen, tons of people do this, you guys. So roll your mesh out in front of you. It's not going to stay flat. That's just part of the mesh. Take it in front of you. I place my hands in the middle, and I use pretty much my index and my thumb, but then your other fingers kind of work along with it, and all you do is just gather it here in the middle, and you just keep going and try to fairly stay in the middle as much as you can. And we have 30-inch piece here, and do you see that cute little ruffle we get out of that? I think that's just really very cute, feminine, especially since it's pink, and it's going to go really well with our little theme here. So you're going to still hold that bundle in the middle and just place it right in the center of your pipe cleaner that you've already placed in there. And I like to tighten it as tight as you possibly can, and then just twist it. I'm going to put 2 twists in that as well, because remember, we're going to come back in here, leave those there, because we're going to come back in here, we're going to add our ribbon, just like we do on a normal mesh ruffle wreath. So let me add this second one here. Now this bright pink might look a little weird next to this fuchsia flower, but I've got some other bright pink accents we're going to put in there. It's all going to look good together. And then of course everything comes down to lighting. You guys know that. I got like 3 lights going, or 4 different colored lights going on in here. I got a regular desk lamp, I got a ceiling fan with 4 lights in it, and then I have a couple studio lights. So there's all kinds of lights going on in here. So I'm taking this one and I'm nestling it down in here, and it's squishing the stuff around it, but hold on, I'll show you guys. It won't really be too hard on the surrounding flowers. So let me twist that. I did that 3 times, so twist that twice. And remember, mesh is forgiving, so basically you roll it all around, tug on it, twist it, and we can always do even more of that later after we put more flowers and the other ribbon in. And let's just see how this works. I'm still on the fence about the mesh, but you guys will let me know. I really thought it was a good color for it, so we'll see how this goes. Worst case scenario, I can always take this mesh out. It's not permanent. Could take these 3 pieces out and just put my ribbons in there and my florals, and we'll see how it goes. So if I'm not actually happy, you'll see the pictures will not reflect mesh. And you'll be watching this and, wait a minute, she put pictures out. There's no mesh in it, so what did she do? It's called I changed my mind. You guys came along on the ride with me. Nothing's ever permanent. So just organizing that all up. And you can still see the green popping through here, which is absolutely what I wanted on that embroidery hoop. It adds just enough of what you want. I love that. I might actually add some more of this greenery coming out too. This one appears kind of being hidden a little bit. I love that lime green next to this pink. I really do. So let me grab my other flowers and let's see how this goes. Oh, I need to mark that. One of them was only 2. So when I cut my flowers off my stems, I push my leaves all the way up, unless I specifically know that I'm not going to be using them. And since I know I'm making a wreath, we don't need the length on these like we do for some of the arrangements that we've made. There's times where, you know, arrangements absolutely have to have length. You need the length of the stems. So what I did there was I was just cutting off some of the other glue and excess pieces. These flowers were used in another project that didn't work out. And that's basically what the stem looks like without it. So I'm going to leave those there. I'm going to cut these guys too. I'm pretty positive I'm going to use the whole bush on this one. These are super cute. And they have a lot of light green in them that I like. I just had scissors, didn't I? Here they are. And then push all our leaves up, cut them off, and let's get started. Nestling these guys in here. And then I'll put the ribbon pieces in next. So hopefully this will work out in the color scheme I want. So let's start. I know I want more of these pink ones. Let me just cut them now. All of these are just little extra accents, accent flowers within the same motif. There was a lot of green and pink in that sign that it really just drew my eye to it. It was really fresh. I think you guys know from before, I tell you guys I live in the desert, so the cactus was cute, but it had an opportunity for me to just leave a lot of green in it. And I think I'm green deprived, even though obviously you out here in Vegas we purchase our green. I remember I bought my first tree in my first house when we landscaped our backyard. We went out to the nursery and I picked out the trees I wanted, and I was buying trees and I got so excited, and I went home and I told our neighbors, and our neighbors are like, you bought trees? I'm like, yeah, you know, you live here. Oh, they're like, yeah, well, we're from I forget where they were from. This is a while ago. I forget where they were from, but they're like, yeah, we forget where we're from. Trees just grow there. I said, but not out here. It's an exciting thing. Get to go purchase trees. So I'm going to pull this girl forward, and I'm just going to start kind of nestling flowers here and there, giving a little bit of, putting a little bit of fun on this side, a little bit of fun on that side, and then we'll go back through and, you know, make sure we glue them all in, and then change some placements. Look at you know, look at different things that may change our minds on where we've placed some things. And I'm putting some flowers in here. I'm filling them in around the hydrangea. I'm filling them in around our bundles of mesh, because we're going to move all of this around, and we're going to play around with how it's filling out the wreath, where we're placing the ribbons, how the mesh is actually going to fill in a lot of our gaps as well, was my hope. So I'm just playing around with placing flowers kind of all over the place. And then that's it's also a lot of bending too. Don't forget to bend the flowers up and down and place things kind of straight in, and maybe push things in. You guys might already have experience, a lot of you might have experience already with grapevines, and how sometimes they don't agree with you too much. So I need to make sure I'm not putting my flowers too far down on this side here. So I'm going to take my sign, make sure I have that just like that. That works out good. Okay, so that's as deep. Okay, that's as far down as I want to go on that side with flowers. And we'll fill in below and above the mesh, only because you never know at what angle it might be seen. So I don't like to say, oh, well, you know, oh, I'm hiding anything. Don't worry about that, because part of the appeal is you get a little peek here and there of the different angles of things, and you get a different look every time. You know, the paint on here is causing it to like be stuck together. You know, so I have to like push through the paint to get through the pieces of the grapevine. Excuse me, guys. I really love this. It's putting a really pretty ruffle effect on here that I'm absolutely digging 100%. So I think I'm going to put another piece of greenery right here on this side. It really needs it. I think I need to put it kind of coming out this way, I think. So what I'm going to do is place it right here. And see how far behind it I should place it. Possibly even where the other one is. Maybe. This one's not going to fit. It's causing me to not be able to place it in there. So I'm going to cut this extra piece off right here. So that now I made my stem longer. I'll cut that extra little piece of plastic off, because sometimes those little nubby pieces keep you from being able to feed it into the grapevine. Need a longer stem on this one. Really well right there. I twisted it a little bit to the right, or towards the inside of the wreath. So I'll place that guy right where I had it. I really like it right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting my flowers and gluing them in, giving them their new permanent home. Yeah. So this one was in pretty well. I didn't want to come back out, but I mean, a lot of times, unless it's really in there and you're tugging really hard, you can't get it out, that's the only time I don't glue it. Other than that, I will pull it out. I'll put a lot of pressure on it just to get it, as far out as I possibly can. Just to make sure it's glued on. You never know with the right pressure, you don't want pieces falling out of a wreath in shipping or just in storage or regular use. So just glue all these guys in. Alright guys, so I glued everything in, and then I only removed one leaf off of the side over there. It was just getting stuffed in there and completely hidden and wasted, so I'll probably stick it somewhere, or I'll save it for the back or another project. So next I'm going to go ahead and cut a lot of ribbon. I'm going to cut three, basically a strip of each for each one of these, and incorporate that into the middle here of each one of these puffs of mesh. So let's just cut this here. Now, I don't know how long I need to make it. If I guesstimate like I would on a mesh wreath, I usually have to compensate for how deep the mesh is. And then what happens is we cut them anywhere from 14 to 16 inches long. But I believe that that long of a streamer might be too long. And yeah, I'm right, that's definitely too long for what we're doing here. So I think instead of actually doing streamers, what I'm going to do is kind of just do like a little bit of a small ribbon or a small bow in the middle of each, which is going to be really fast and easy as far as ribbons are concerned. So I'm going to do a tiny little bow in each. So I like to dovetail the ends of when I start, and I don't know that actually has, because usually if I just keep going and then everything else past that doesn't have a dovetail until the very end, but I'm weird like that, I guess. It's a wonderful type of weird. Don't worry, guys. It's okay. So I'm going to go with my green first. And I'm going to take it. I'm going to make a tail any length you can think of. You can put it up to your project here and see if that's how you like the length on it. But basically, I wanted to show you guys. I chose this because look how cute it is next to the cactus. Doesn't it kind of look like, you know, to me this is cute, like it's mimicking the little quills or the spikes or the, you know, thorny spiky parts of the cactus, these little X's and checks. I couldn't help it, so that's why I'm incorporating this emerald green into it. So I'm making a loop. All I'm doing is a 2-loop bow. So that's basically a loop, twist it, and a loop, twist it again, and another tail. And the only reason we're doing the twisting is because this is a single-sided ribbon. So you'll see that, you know, you need to twist it once you pinch it because you want the pretty side to face you. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my polka dot ribbon. Now this is one-sided as well, even though it's sheer. On one side you can see the little fuzzy polka dots, and on the other you can tell that they're not. So we'll have to twist this one as well. And this is a lot more sheer and a lightweight type of fabric ribbon. This sheer type stuff is very, it has a lot of movement. It's very forgiving. It's really cute. So we're not going to secure this with anything. What we're going to do is we're just going to run right up to our wreath, and we're going to place the bundle that we've pinched right down in the middle of our pipe cleaners like you would on a mesh wreath. And then we're going to twist them together multiple times, maybe 3 or 4 times. And then I'm going to cut off the excess. And let's see what happens, guys, if this looks good. Right now I take this extra piece that I cut and I'm going to curl it back down into the bow, kind of underneath it, kind of hides it a little bit. And then if I feel like it, I'm going to take a peek. So I'm just going to kind of take these pieces here and kind of curl them. I grab the ribbon tails and I pull them with my thumb and I curl them. We're gonna make this bow really, really kind of cute and fluffy, almost like a little bit of like a flower within the flower, because to me the mesh looks like it's already a flower. Oh, I gotta dovetail these two ends. To me the mesh looks like it's already a flower, and then when you put the bow inside of it, it looks like another flower blooming out of the middle of the flower. Just makes me smile. So I dovetail those ends. I'm gonna step back, turn it towards me. I'm gonna step back and take a peek and see how I like the bow popping out of there. And more adjustment, that always is par for the course, you guys. That's always part of making a wreath or making an arrangement. It's all kinds of adjustments, and the mesh will move with you, so don't worry about tugging on anything. That's part of the reason why we want this to be here. Okay, so what I'm thinking is I need to put something in the middle of here, and it's not necessarily another piece of greenery. If you've watched my other videos, you know I like to stick things, you know, in the middle of of arrangements. I haven't forgotten about my little pink picks here, guys. What I need to do is, I believe I don't have any small flowers. I kind of feel like they need like a little bit of pink in the middle of the green. There's a lot of green in there. What do you guys think? Probably should have done this on a live stream. Usually when I really need the help, I really wish I'd done a live stream, and because I miss you guys. You guys always help me or confirm that you feel the same way. Tugging around in here, moving things around. I just absolutely don't like leaving a bow with nothing in the middle. It seems empty to me. It seems almost foreign, like it just doesn't belong like that. It needs to have something in the middle of it. Maybe that's where I'll put these things at. I mean, I'm liking it, and I'm going to leave it that way with all little accent flowers here and there. I only have 3 more of those. I might add one to the center of each one of those, and then also put this stuff in there too. I have exactly 3 flowers left. I think that's telling me something. It's telling me Whitney used me. Let me get this tag off of here. And let's just dive in, see how it goes. I'm going to cut these really short, actually, because for the middle of these bows, I might not even need that much length on them. But what I'm thinking is, let's see, I may have to move it this way or that way. I'm thinking I need to just kind of tuck it right in there. Cute, very cute. More pink and white. Can't get past all that extra pink. It's very cute. The mesh and the ever struggle of keeping it from fraying too much. They make fray sprays. They make all kinds of stuff. It's completely your preference on how you finish off your mesh. I particularly don't like to have to spray it. That's just not my thing. I also don't use mesh too often, but when I do, my mesh wreaths don't really shed all that much to where it doesn't, to me, it doesn't seem as though it's that big of a problem. Let me see about this green leaf right here. So incorporate more leaves and greens in there. That's super cute. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but those sound like fireworks. It is Memorial Night while I'm recording this, so you guys are probably hearing that. Let me try something else. I don't know. Sorry guys, you get to see this entire process from start to finish, which also means you have to sit through Whitney thinking about it. So if you're a newcomer, this is usually what my live streams are like. So it's your first video watching of mine. I think I can get involved. It's lots of talking to myself. Lots of making decisions and testing out theories on different projects or different ways of doing things. So I got 2 bundles out of that piece. I had 3, but I used it for another wreath. So let's see how we can break this one into a few pieces. What I'm going to do is cut this off. I'm going to pinch it off. I'm going to basically cut it with the wire cutters right above that bundle there. I'll show you how that turns 1 pick into 2 picks. So that piece came out, and then you can't really tell that I cut it right in there because the leaves cover it. I think this is going to be one of those instances where I really wish I had more of one product. And I'm forgetting I have a sign that goes here too, so I need to be even more careful not to leave that out. That's a really big piece. I'm going to make sure I don't leave that out. Okay, so these accents are going to go in there, and I'm probably definitely going to put some flowers in them. Now these are fairly big flowers. I don't know how big. I mean, I don't really want them to be too big that I'm placing in these bows, but I did want to go with pink. It looks like I'm gonna, oh yeah, the green. It just, see how you just know when things go the right way. I think it's the way the line goes with this emerald here, and it's exactly what is happening in the picture that I like. So you guys can see how that process happened. I'm gonna get that in there, and it's going in its new permanent home. Look at that. Oh, I love that right there. Check that out, guys. Can you see how this lime green looks so perfect in here next to this emerald ribbon? Okay. I am now happy. So I'll put these on. That one's really cute right there, and now it won't come out. I'll put these on at the end. So I'm gonna go ahead, you guys, and I'll speed up the tape. You can tell I'm from the 80s. I'm gonna speed up the video real quick while I do the other 2 bows, and then we'll come back and I'll show you guys how we do the sign. Okay guys, so I got the other 2 ribbons done. I got the green flowers put in the middle of each bundle. If you see here, that's really absolutely making me happy. And the difference in the pinks is just absolutely great. I didn't know for sure if I liked the pink mesh with this fuchsia hydrangea, but it's making me happy. So I'm going to add these 3 little bundles in here. I don't know if I'm going to make, no, I don't want to make no, that's too small. So I'm going to make one Yeah, I've got 3 bundles of these, so I'm just going to kind of incorporate them in, and then we'll put the sign on and see if we really need to put any filler around maybe the sides of the sign. That's when we have the hydrangea leaves that we saved off the stems, so we could always do something like that if we had to. So let me see if I can poke this in somehow and kind of incorporate this into the wreath, kind of poking out from under somewhere. I've got the 3 pieces, and I definitely want them in here, looking really cute. Oh yeah, we'll have more than enough room to not have to worry about that. You guys can see how, even just like this, without the sign, the way the embroidery hoop is kind of accented here in the middle, and then whatever wall that you're placing this behind, you can see how bright that is on the gray. Whatever wall or door color you're placing this on, you know, if you go with a different color theme or a different holiday motif, whatever makes you happy, depending on the color you've painted it, or if you leave it a natural color on a dark wall, this particular hoop on the inside, because we're coloring, I mean, because we painted it was wood, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Now you could use the metal rings. So there's metal rings you can use. There's other types of any kind of other hoop. You can even do a smaller grapevine wreath. Another wreath just like the one you've used, just a smaller size. That's always an option too. I've seen posts where people have basically attached 2 of the same size wreaths together, so it almost looks like the infinity symbol or figure 8 kind of deal. Just trying to get my glue strings down a little bit, and I don't want to burn my fingers. There we go. So place that guy in there. Just absolutely love how this is turning out. I love these greens and pinks. And then with the sign, it's just absolutely, it's, I've said absolutely gorgeous like 700 times, you guys. I really love this wreath. Sometimes it's so hard to say goodbye to these things. And just so you guys know, this, I mean, they are for sale. Most of my pieces always, I mean, actually all of them end up on Etsy. It's just a matter of time as to how long it takes me to get them listed. Sometimes I just don't have time to get to it. Editing videos is a little time consuming, and planning them out, getting these things all put together, and then of course filming them. You guys see the cut versions. There's definitely a lot of outtakes I do, a lot of different ways I have to change things and all that. I'm not complaining at all, trust me, I'm not complaining, I'm just saying it's a decent amount of work, guys. It's definitely more than I thought it would be when I decided to say, oh, I'm gonna do this full time. But I'm enjoying every minute of it. You guys are great. Okay. So I'm curl that one this way. So that one stick out a little bit over here like this. Gonna come out like that. And then this guy, kind of hide him over here like that. Oh yeah. It just tells you, you know, the wreath and the pieces just, they tell me where they want to go. I don't know how to explain it. It sounds kind of weird. You get to a point in your arrangement or your wreath or your project or whatever, and you know, the pieces and the supplies just kind of start to speak to you and tell you where they need to be. I mean, so you guys have to relate to me. Come on, let me know in the comments. Tell me I'm not alone on this. At some point, things just start going into place where they belong, and it just starts to talk to you. It's awesome. All right, let me see what I have left over. I have 2 of these pink flowers left over, and I have a piece of leaf here. This I can put on the back to cover things up. Actually, you know what? I said I was going to save it because I might need to use something on the side here if it shows too much. Now, my idea was, now look how gorgeous that is on its own. On its own, you guys, this is a beautiful wreath. I don't really need anything on it, but the whole inspiration was this sign. So you've got enough of the bright white grapevine showing through. You've got this really pretty lime green accent hoop. This is gorgeous on its own. Absolutely love it. Very proud of it. Absolutely love this. But I am going to put my sign on it. That was the purpose. The sign was our inspiration, and our sign is what got us here. So I'm definitely putting the sign on it. So now let me turn it this way, and let's put this girl on here and see how it goes. I'm going to leave this little wood, it's not, the sign is wooden. I'm going to leave this little rope accent here. It's like a twine, a little twiny accent right there. I'm going to leave that right there, definitely, for sure. Yeah, I like that because you still get to see the hoop right there. So what I'm going to do is see how this feeds through here on each side. And I'm basically trying to just push these, I'm pushing these, sorry guys, I'm so trying to concentrate on what I'm doing and talk, pipe cleaners through the grapevine just to get them in the right spot. And it's really important once you get it through to take a peek at the front to make sure it sits the right way where you want it to. Because sometimes even if you've got it on where you want it, it might throw off just a little bit. See, that went down further than I wanted it to, so let me move it up here a little bit more. See if I can get this in the right spot. Again, that paint is keeping some of this stuff together, so I can't get my pipe cleaner through it. There we go. Thought I had it through it. There we go. Oh, did I lose it? There's one. There's two. Okay, hold on. Oh, there we go. There we go. I think that's what I want. Let's see the placement here. Where did she go? Oh, it's inside there? How did that happen? Huh? How did that happen? Yes. Beautiful. Okay, got a little bit of a thing I gotta fix up here. Hold on one sec, guys. Wants to argue with me. Come on. There we go. Pull it tight. Look at it from the front. Yeah, that's good, that's good. So I'm going to twist this guy all around on the back. The same thing that we did on the front, so you guys can't, I know you can't see, but I'm twisting back here and twisting these twist ties like 1,000 billion times. Not an exaggeration at all. I'm actually twisting it 1,000 billion times. Okay, hold on. I know, I'm a goofball. Okay, twist, twist, twist. I absolutely love it right here, and the best part is I'll show you guys in 4.7 seconds. Don't count that. Yeah, don't actually quote me on that. I don't need to put anything on the side over here to hide anything because the sign goes right up onto the grapevine and it looks beautiful. I'd almost say I don't really need to hide anything back here except for the embroidery hoop, and I'll show you guys that in about 5 seconds as well. So I'm just twirling these around themselves. Here's our wreath, you guys. So you have that little lime green accent, and this is what I was going for. I love this. Absolutely love this. And remember, pick a color, go with it, paint an embroidery hoop, stick it in there, and you're gonna love you're gonna love the outcome. So here is our actual wreath. We are finished. I've got the flowers, we've got mesh, we've got ribbon, we got a sign, we got really pretty parts of the white grapevine poking through. Everything. I am absolutely over the moon about this. This turned out very well, and I'm so happy you guys were with me to do it. So what I'll do right real quick is I'm gonna flip it over, and I'll just show you the finishing pieces. Now, sometimes I get a lot of people, especially in my live streams, that say they want to see how I finish off the back of it. Actually love that this hangs right here, by the way, too. You guys will see that in the pictures. I love that. I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to flip it over. The bows are going to get smushed. That's par for the course. Do not worry about that. So here's the back of our wreath. I'm going to gingerly set it down. I'm really not going to put force on it, so it won't be smushed too much. And what I'll do is, I've twisted this one around itself, so what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to finish this one off and twist it. This is the pipe cleaner for the back of the sign, and it is white, so it blends in very well with the wreath. Not a problem. I don't want to put flowers on the back because that's just too bulky, and it'll be smushed and it'll probably cause an issue with the way the item sits. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place these larger hydrangea leaves. Now these are the leaves that came off of our big hydrangea bush stems, or the stems that we purchased, that 4-year project. So I like to cut off these larger pieces here on the leaf. So you're cutting that plastic piece off. That's a big chunk. So what we really have here is just the leaves, okay? And if you can't really tell here, I'm not going to move it too much because I want to smush it, but right here on the back of the wreath, here's where our 2 pipe cleaners are on the embroidery hoop, and then right here that I'm pointing at is where that metal piece is that we put some hot glue on. I'm going to set these 2 pieces next to each other, and I'm actually going to clip this off. This is a piece of the grapevine got away. When you set these 2 pieces together next to each other, you get a nice little blanket effect that covers the whole back of the embroidery hoop, so you don't see the pipe cleaner or the glue. So this is the part that you're going to need either a pair of scissors, another stem, something that you can hold on to, because this is where the hot glue gets hot and it is not forgiving. So I put a big dab of glue always on the part that I'm putting on most of my focus on. Now I got some beautiful fake fingernails here, so a lot of times I can hold things down, but even then it comes through, it gets my hand. So use your pliers, your scissors, anything you have, and kind of hold this in place for just a little bit. Let the glue work its magic and let it get stuck down, okay? It's not sliding. And then here's where I'm going to take my second one. I'm going to put glue at the top of it here, and I'm going to kind of just push them in together and then let them sit here like this, and then let the glue do its work. So this one's still being glued. Now what I like to do is, so that you don't really have anyone picking things up, is I try to kind of move the leaves just a little bit underneath and see where else I can kind of glue them down to. So I put a little bit of glue on the back of that embroidery hoop and the pipe cleaner that it's holding onto the wreath in, and I'm just going to hold the leaf down and press it here, and that's how I cover up all of the behind the scenes. Same thing on this side. I'm going to put some glue here, and on the embroidery hoop, and push that leaf right into it. And this is just for just in case, you know, you may have a glass door you're placing this on, or a window that you can see through into another room, or a pass-through. That way, if for some reason you're not going to be limited to place this on just a blank wall or a door that you can't see the other side. So worst case scenario, the back of it looks decent. I mean, obviously it's not as gorgeous as the front, but the back of it looks decent, and kind of hides any of the oops or the uglies. Here's the 2 pipe cleaners right here for the sign, and I'm not going to cover them, you guys. I think they look great where they're at, and I don't think there's a problem, especially since this is a white wreath with the white pipe cleaner. I think we're good to go. What I did notice here is I do have a stem poking through right here that you guys can't see that too much. So I'm going to take this piece that I cut off of the greenery we put on there, and I'm going to apply the exact same process that we did with those larger leaves. I like to save my larger leaves for issues like this when we need a lot of coverage. And since this is just a piece of the stem sticking out here, I don't want to cut it off, but I also don't want to leave it. So I'm going to take my 2 leaves and kind of do a little heart to heart, because these kind of look like little hearts. So I'm going to do like a little heart to heart here, and that covers up that little faux pas. Should it need, or should it ever be seen, covers it up quite well. Let's see if I have a better. Is it better covered this way? Okay, yeah, the larger one on this side. Okay, so glue right down the center of that guy right there, and that kind of sits right in the channel. And this one I'm probably, yeah, this one I'm going to have to hold. Just put a big old blob of glue. Blah, 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 glue. Push that right down in there, like that. And then I'm going to peek over here and tug a little bit. Yeah, this is all set and dry, so none of that's coming up that we put on over here. It's all good to go. This one's definitely still wet. I'm going to lift it up while it's drying and put more glue on the rest of the stem under here. Push the leaf right back down on it. That's real hot. Ooh. Alright guys, so let me flip that back over. I'll show you the front. And of course I'll definitely be fluffing it and fix it. I have 2 of these left over, but that's not earth-shattering. So I'll flip it back over. I'll adjust my my little bows and stuff that we smushed, and I'll show you guys the finished project up against like the wall back here. Okay guys, so here we go. I got everything all cleaned up in the glue strings and all that good stuff, and I fluffed the bows back up so they're not smushed. And here's our finished piece, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it to death. Let me know your thoughts though. Let me know what you guys think of the process, how we did it, how we put it together, and then also maybe the color scheme, the choices I made. You guys let me know. I have thick skin, so let me have it, because trust me, not much gets to me anymore. Anyways, I love this. I love the greens and the pinks that we pulled out of here. This lime green here inspired this embroidery hoop. I love the little bit of interest it gives to it. Throw something in the middle of your wreath you wouldn't think of. Now I know people have been doing this a little bit with, like, you can use the metal wreaths, the metal rings and those things, but I wanted to paint it and I wanted it to be just a little different and gives it a little bit more depth. The colors, the mesh, it all looks like just a big, beautiful, pretty mess. What do you guys think? Also, here's the back after everything's dried, so you can see here's our 2 leaves covering the embroidery issues, and then here's the one where the stem had poked through. It's not exactly symmetrical, it's not supposed to be, but it's also not an ugly mess. So it's also a pretty mess. So even prettier mess is the front. I particularly want it to hang this way. You could even hang it just a little bit more crooked if you want, so that your sign's just a little bit more at an angle. Again, artist interpretation, and then also purchaser, or however you intend to place it in your home, or however your client, or you know, whoever it's a gift for, or anything like that. Just kind of pushing that back in there. So that's it, guys. Absolutely love how this girl turned out. This is going to be awesome. It will be listed in my Etsy shop, so stay tuned. If you don't see it, go ahead and message me or chat in the comments, ask about it. There's a link to my Etsy shop in the description of this video, also on my About page on my Facebook, and then also here on YouTube in the About section on my channel. So take a look. Almost all of my pieces end up in Etsy once I get around to listing them. Otherwise, I start running out of room in here. So thanks, everybody. Also want to say thank you to my patrons. Just remember, you guys, if you ever feel like you're learning something, you're enjoying the videos, you like the content, and you want to just help out a little bit, it helps me buy the supplies. It helps me keep up the back end of my craft area and the, you know, computer supports, PC, all that good stuff. Consider joining me on Patreon and pledging whatever amount fits you best. There's reward levels. Just take a peek at it. There's also a link to that in my description as well. And then remember, always thank everybody. That's all I can do, is just remember to thank you guys immensely for everything you've done for me. It's been great. My supporters absolutely make me feel great every day. I love doing this, so I'm going to keep at it until you guys tell me no. Also, give me ideas. Patrons get first pick over, but obviously you guys probably understand that they're throwing me the consideration, so I got to give it to them too. But that doesn't mean that I don't love you any less. If you're in a position where you can't pledge or you can't donate, do not worry about it. I love you just the same as everybody else. And then the patrons get to know that they're helping still inspire people. No problem. So until next time, you guys, happy crafting, take care, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye.